Oh, we gonna watch this. There was an interview done about Xbox. She's the president of Xbox. Here we go.
Please welcome to the stage Sarah Bond, president of Xbox at Microsoft, for a conversation with Bloomberg's Dina Bass.
Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. So I want to start talking about the industry in general. You and Microsoft Games CEO Phil Spencer have been raising kind of the alarm that the video game industry is just not growing, and there's a real need to figure out how to reverse that. What's causing the issue, and how does Xbox turn it around?
One of the reasons why the video game industry isn't growing is because there was a massive boom in video games and COVID. And as the world isn't locked inside all the time, even growth, like if you're growing at 10% every year, but you have a 50% growth that falls off, it's going to look like you're not growing.
Yeah, the last year or so...
It's balancing out. Yeah, it's balancing out.
Video games, largely the industry's been flat. And even in 2023, we saw just some tremendous releases, tremendously groundbreaking games, but still the growth didn't follow all of that.
We're not going to get any examples, are we? Why don't we get some fucking examples? Which games sucked? Like what? Actually, you know what? Let's look at Xbox releases. We had 3 big Xbox releases last year. Hi-Fi Rush, which did extremely well, but it didn't really have like a huge player base, like not really compared to like other games. Starfield, poster child of aggressive mediocrity. And then number 3 would be Redfall. Same thing. So yeah, if you work at Xbox, this is absolutely the way that you're going to feel.
A lot of that's related to our need to bring new players in, make gaming more accessible, but all of that has been happening at the same time that the cost associated with making these beautiful AAA blockbuster games is going up, and the time...
Has it ever occurred to you that maybe that's not the way that you should make games? That you don't need to make these AAA blockbuster games? Maybe that's not the right decision? Because, like, maybe that's really where the issue is. And this is the problem, right? Is like you're blaming the audience, you're blaming the market. Maybe it's your process. Maybe the process is fundamentally flawed.
It takes to make them is going up.
It is, yeah.
And
then stop making them that way.
So much of our focus as
Stop doing it that
Xbox
way.
is about how we do things to help the industry all up.
Except for
while also ensuring
Tango
that our brand,
Studio,
everything that we do is there through this moment of transition.
Related to some of the trends you're identifying.
I'm not really sure what that... Well, I don't know what she just said, but yeah, I'm not sure. But okay.
Earlier this week, Xbox announced the shuttering of 4 game studios. I know you're not the studio's chief, but how should gamers understand that move in terms of Microsoft's commitment to developing innovative exclusive
Here, I'll give the
games?
real answer. Gamers shouldn't give a fuck about it because we're just going to make other games. It's not your job to care about the studios. Just buy the games if they're good. Don't buy them if they're bad. It's that simple. No gamer really gives a shit about this in the first place. That's the real answer. You can't say that on TV, but that's the answer.
Games.
Yeah, it's always extraordinarily hard when you have to make decisions like that. I'll go back to what I was saying about the industry. And when we looked at those fundamental trends, we feel a deep responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through moments, even when the industry isn't growing and when you're through a time of transition. And the news we announced...
Yeah, she's saying they didn't make enough money. I think that's what she's saying. That's basically it. She's saying, like, even whenever... She's like, well, we want them to be successful even whenever the industry isn't growing. And the implication is that they were not. That's what I think she's saying.
earlier this week is an outcome of that.
Yeah.
And our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term.
Exactly. Yeah, they were losing money. There it is. They were losing money on the studio. It's that simple.
But that said, our commitment to having our own studios and working with partners to have games large and small. You know, we're a platform where you can play GTA, but you can also play Power World, where you can play Call of Duty, and you can also play Pentiment. That doesn't change. And frankly, our commitment to Bethesda and the role that it plays is part of Xbox and everything.
Yeah, big mistake on that one, huh? Yeah, bad call. Because of like Starfield, you know? Because it was bad.
We do. It's actually been pretty fantastic. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to check it out.
What?
The Fallout TV show was on Amazon. And it's been great to see people fall in love with that universe, but also what it's done for the games themselves and people going back and exploring.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like the Fallout show being good, probably, I mean, I'm sure Xbox helped make it better, but Xbox was not the causal factor in the Fallout show being good.
Everything that's inside of that. There's some other great things that are coming from our
Let's
studios
be honest.
later this year. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I was a big indie fan growing up. Looks like you were too. So you should check that out. But really right now for us and our teams, our focus is on the people impacted and doing everything that we can do to help them through this hard transition.
I think one of
The reality is that there's no answer that she could realistically give that would be a good answer. Like, that's really the truth, is that she's in a very bad position where it's like, she can't say, well, they weren't making any fucking money, so we got rid of them. We axed them. They're not making the games we think they should make, so we got rid of them. They're not making the new, what was the game that they were, like Phil Spencer was said that people were disappointed that the Hi-Fi Rush people weren't making, the Evil Within or something like that. Yeah, Evil Within 3. They didn't do that. They didn't bring home the bacon, and guess what happens? I disagree. She could have given a better answer. She could have touched more emotion more. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't think she should have touched any more emotion, because the problem is that if she had used more emotion, then people would have just said that they were crocodile tears, or it's just an executive that's trying to make you feel sorry for them. That wouldn't have been any better. She did exactly what she did. This was the best possible outcome for the situation that she was in. And I'm sorry, it was garbage. It was. But it's like, listen, if you've got to make a cake and your ingredients are nails, cat shit, and paint, well, you're probably not going to make a good cake, are you? It doesn't matter how good of a baker you are. It doesn't matter. And that's what happened here.
Things that was most upsetting both to Xbox gamers and to employees is that, you know, one of the shuttered studios in particular just created a hit game, did really well on Game Pass in terms of engagement, and won
Hi-Fi Rush,
awards.
that's what she's talking about.
Shouldn't succeeding in that way ensure the future of a studio?
I mean, this is a W question. I mean, I'll tell you that for sure. Like, yeah, what a great interviewer. I mean, I love seeing questions that are really, you know, kind of tough. You know, they are getting in there. Yeah, exactly.
You know, one of the things I really love about the games industry is it's a creative art form. And it means that the situation and what success is for each game and studio is also really unique. Like, there's no one size fits all.
So what she's saying is that their version of success publicly was not Microsoft's version of success. She's saying that it might have looked like it was successful, but behind the scenes and like on the balance sheet, it wasn't successful. I think that's what she's saying. Like, obviously, you know, I could be wrong. Hey, I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. I feel like this is actually a pretty good answer. Like, in terms of it being revealing
To it for us.
exactly. Yeah, see, that's what she's saying.
And so we look at each studio, each game team, and we look at a whole variety of factors when we're faced with sort of making decisions and trade-offs.
Yeah, that's the factor they're looking at right there.
Like that. But it all comes back to our long-term commitment to the games we create, the devices we build, the services, and ensuring that we're setting ourselves up to be able to deliver on those promises.
Talking further about growth, I mean, one of the key focus areas.
Yeah, I think that's really what happened, is that the studios just didn't make enough money. And I'm actually surprised that we got so much of a direct answer. It's odd because I saw a discourse about this online. I didn't watch it, obviously, but I saw a discourse about it, and people were saying that she gave non-answers. I feel like this is the closest thing to an answer that we could have got. Like, realistically, from like a corporate perspective, this is the most direct answer that we could have possibly received. She's giving non-answers? No, she's not. She's saying that they were successful, but not based off of our metrics. The metrics fucked up. I don't know if they did or not. None of us know that. Then stop buying studios. I think this is probably what happened. This is my guess. I don't know. I'm guessing. I bet they released Hi-Fi Rush and they didn't make enough money to sustain themselves for the development of the next game. And the expectation, like Microsoft was like, all right, if you want to do this, we're going to let you do this. And they did it, and it didn't succeed at the level they needed it to keep the studio sustainable until the next game never released. And so Microsoft cut them off. That's what I think happened, because that's what makes the most sense to me. Like, Game Pass, well, it's all Game Pass. It's not all about Game Pass. So you need to think about this, like, so I guarantee you Microsoft has analytics. Microsoft probably has 50 different analytics that people that are being used on Game Pass to judge whether somebody is doing well or whether a user is, buying Game Pass or using Game Pass to play a certain game. Only 50. Yeah, 50 for individual users, right? Individual user, data points. So it's probably 50, maybe 100, maybe even more, right? I'm not sure. So, like, the amount of people that are playing Hi-Fi Rush on Game Pass, they know what that number is. They know what that number is at any given time. They know what that number was. They know what that number was projected to be. They know where that number is going to be. They know they have a decent understanding of how many conversions and purchases of Game Pass was created by that number. Here, let me go ahead and show you something. For example, So this is just an example. I want to just go ahead, pre-order. Okay, we look at this here, and this should show. Okay, so whenever you click this button, Ubisoft has a tracker whenever you go on their website, and they are tracking your IP address of you deciding to sign up for Ubisoft Plus based off of this website address. And so every single online retailer does this, and they do it, like, I think I showed a picture of this recently. I guess it must have been deleted, but this is extremely common. So what they're doing is they're tracking basically like a flowchart of actions. And so the amount of actions that this game has that result in a purchase of Ubisoft Plus are then amortized over the lifetime value of a Ubisoft Plus customer, and then factored into the value that game is providing for the company. And why do I think this? Because would you do this? Hey, if you were running this company, would you do that? I would do that. Of course. You would need to do this. It's common sense. So of course they're fucking doing this. It's not even a question. Yeah, of course. So whenever they say, because you say it's on Game Pass, you don't understand what that means. They have the data for this. That's all I'm saying. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Is for Xbox in terms of growth, and this was also one of the key bets in the Activision acquisition was mobile.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Xbox plan for future mobile gaming, and when can we finally see it?
Yeah, it feels like it's been a long time since we announced the Activision acquisition, which we completed in October, and the whole thesis about that, a lot of why we did it was about mobile. And
well, that's actually not because of Activision. That's primarily because Activision Blizzard King, and King is the maker of like Candy Crush. King is the real money maker there in terms of mobile. Obviously, you've got Hearthstone from Blizzard and then Call of Duty Mobile, but it's really King that's making a lot of that money. And that's actually an acquisition that Activision Blizzard made in like 2014, 15, something like that.
We felt strongly that there has been an opportunity for there to be an experience on mobile that is centered around gamers. Like we talk a lot about how there's 3 billion gamers in the world. 2 of those billion play on mobile.
Well, and this is a problem that Facebook is running into too, is that Facebook is running out of people. So Facebook cannot continuously project consumer and user growth because at a certain point you reach what's referred to as market saturation. Well, what happens whenever you've saturated the whole world? Well, until we find aliens to use Facebook, you're not going to have year-over-year growth. That's it. And Microsoft is hitting that same point because Microsoft is a $3 trillion company. Like anybody that could, like basically, and you see this with Meta, they're actually taking initiatives to get people like on India online, to get people in other rural parts of the world online. Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg is doing that because he cares about those people? Maybe he does. Maybe he does, and this is a secondary effect. But the primary reason is because those users are now going to use his product so he can continue growing his company. He's planting a seed to harvest the fruits. It's not because he cares about the environment. It's because he wants the fruits.
And half of those actually play on mobile and they play on another device. Mm-hmm. But there isn't actually a gaming platform, a store experience that is centered around players and goes truly across device, where who you are, your library, your identity, your rewards.
Roblox, opinion discarded, opinion completely dismantled and destroyed. Roblox. Like, no.
Travels with you versus being locked to a single ecosystem. And we've recognized that opportunity for a long time.
Well, Xbox ecosystem is locked to Xbox ecosystem. Like, it's not like you can play PlayStation games on Xbox. I think Steam is the closest thing to that, not Xbox. To be fair, I think that Steam is actually, Xbox is more ethical and more consumer-friendly than Sony is right now. And I don't even think it's close, by the way. And it's like it's always really funny that like we talk about this, right? Because it's like, oh, so which one's worse, Sony or Microsoft? And meanwhile, Nintendo's just like, they don't see me. They don't see me. You know, that's it. Because Nintendo's worse than both of them by a mile. But we don't ever talk about that.
Time, but we wanted to make sure that anything we built was really grounded in people who play those mobile native games and the creators of them. And so being joined with a team that has real deep expertise in mobile was important to us. But we are that now.
Yeah, and so that's, again, Activision to a lesser extent, King to a greater extent. I think that the reason why she's not talking about King directly is because it could seem like they're transitioning to mobile-focused games, and it could make them seem less serious in the eyes of more consumer-focused and like more gamer-focused markets. I think that's why she's not talking about it. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
And so in July, we are going to be launching our mobile store experience. We're going to start, actually, by bringing our own first-party portfolio.
Now, why does this happen? Why are they making their own mobile store? So if you look right here, you'll see that the Google Play Store takes a 30% share of app revenue. So based off of this number, it makes me believe that actually this makes a lot of sense for Microsoft. In fact, it might even make entire dollars. And I would assume a lot of them. So yeah, they isolate themselves for 30%. No, they're not going to isolate themselves. They're probably also going to offer it on the Google Play Store and then like slowly over time. Because I'm going to be honest here, I really don't like how the Google Play Store and the Apple Play Store, or like whatever it is, the Apple Store, for apps, I don't like how they have a dual monopoly on all smartphone apps. I think it's very consumer end friendly, and I'm actually glad Microsoft is doing something about it. I think the more competitors in the space, the better. I wish there were more competitors in the gaming space besides Steam. But the truth is that no company besides Steam has, none of them have proven themselves to be worthy of our money. Epic Games is okay. It's all right. But, like, Steam is the best. Good old games? Yeah, maybe. Maybe you're right. I guess they have different games. I don't really use it, so I could be wrong about that.
To that, so you're going to see games like Candy Crush show up in that experience, games like Minecraft.
Yeah, King.
And then we're going to extend that capability to partners so that they can also take advantage of it and have a true cross-platform, gaming-centric mobile experience. We're going to start on the web. And we're doing that because that really allows us to...
By the way, this is a very smart decision for Microsoft to make, and I think this is a good idea for them to do this. This is very smart.
Have it be an experience that's accessible across all devices,
I think
all
that they can pull it off.
No matter what,
I think so.
of the policies of
I'm not sure.
Closed ecosystem stores. And then we're going to extend from there. So I'm excited about it just because it's something that we've wanted to do for a long time. We've heard gamers talking about it for a long time, and we're now at the point where we can take those steps.
And so in July when it launches, we at that point at the beginning see Candy Crush and Minecraft in it, or how soon? Or
it would have to be, right?
You'll see things roll out over time.
Do you know how soon partners will be able to use it as well?
Our goal is to get partners using it shortly after launch. We really want to make sure we start and we scale using our own IP first. That allows us to make sure that the experience that we bring partners into really builds on all the quality and learning that we have.
It's cleaner for licensing. That's probably the real reason. But yeah, of course that makes sense.
The team.
Another big discussion point in the Activision acquisition was cloud gaming and how big that market really was. When will we really see it gain traction? Is it gaining users finally in any particular regions and scenarios? How is it doing? What do people use?
I think cloud gaming is going to be the future. I do. I think so. Everybody's joking around about it, but I think that it will happen. Google Stadia was just too early. I think in South America, right? But I'm not sure.
Cloud gaming, for those that don't know, I don't know if everyone here in the audience is familiar with it, is just the ability to play a game natively from the cloud. So you don't need to actually have a piece of hardware in your home, and you can experience something that's AAA Xbox gaming on any device, regardless of the local compute that you have.
It's hard to explain this to somebody who doesn't know what's going on.
And we have been investing in that for some time because we really believe that opening up sort of these beautiful immersive experiences to more gamers is important for industry growth, for developers, and we know people want to play those experiences.
Well, it's also because this unlocks a new audience for them. Like, for example, in South America, China is mainly mobile. South America is a lot mobile too. But like in many places in the world that aren't like developed Western countries, there is a much lower rate of people that have like good gaming PCs to play these high quality games. So if they can nail cloud gaming down, at least to where it's playable, then they're going to be able to actually sell these games to that other audience. That's why these companies are trying to do it.
And we're seeing tremendous growth there. We have more demand than supply in that area. And you'll see us rolling out more capacity, introducing more options for people to jump in and play on the cloud.
And is it growing faster than the overall market? We were talking about the market itself is down. Where is cloud gaming?
It is growing faster than the overall market, really bringing in new players and growth for us. So it's an area where we're investing more and we're excited about.
Earlier this year, Xbox...
It's hard for me to say that there's ever going to be a game like Valorant that could be played over cloud, right? Based off of like how fast you have to react to things and everything. But I think that maybe you could do it if you had the same tech that fighting games have with like input rollback. But I don't know. Like I'm not I'm not sure. Okay. But I know games like Honkai Star Rail, you can do it for sure. Games like Age of Empires, you can probably do it. There's a lot of games that you can do it with pretty easily. Maybe in 10 years. Yeah, no, cloud gaming is something that will happen. It's just a matter of when.
Xbox announced for the first time that it was bringing a slate of Xbox-developed games, Xbox-exclusive games, to rival platforms, to Sony's PlayStation, Nintendo Switch. That obviously was a big change. It was a little bit unsettling for some of the Xbox hardware fans, but how is it going so far? Do you have any data about how the games are doing? Do PlayStation gamers really want to play Sea of Thieves?
Yeah, of course.
It's early days yet, so I don't have specific data to share, but we are really encouraged by the reception of our games. And one thing that I think it's important to note is, as Xbox, we've been putting games on other platforms for a long time. Minecraft is available pretty much universally. The teams at Bethesda have had games on other platforms. The teams at Activision Blizzard have games on other platforms. And so it's a decision we just make on a game-by-game basis as we move forward and continue to execute on our strategy.
I'm also a big fan of Microsoft doing this. I like the fact that you can play Microsoft games on PC as well as console. Like, for example, they could have made Halo Infinite console only. They didn't. And that was really great of them to do. That's why I said that, Microsoft in a lot of ways is the most consumer-friendly big publisher here, more so than Sony at least.
At the same time, we've talked about mobile, we've talked about cloud. Of course, Xbox itself's heritage is in console. And, the energy around the console right now is a little challenged. Many of the hard...
Aren't consoles loss leaders anyway? They lose money on console sales. That's my understanding. So, what's this fixation on trying to force people into buying a console that they're losing money on? I feel like this is a pretty stupid business model.
Or long-term customers are worried. They're worried about the release on other platforms. They're worried that that may indicate that Xbox is defocusing its own hardware. What do you say to them? How do you make them feel?
Those are the Xbox bros on Twitter. This comes straight from Twitter Xbox bros. Starfield defenders.
Xbox is still for them.
Yeah, at first the worry that I see is happening across the industry, and I think is a lot of what we're seeing, just industry all up. But specific to core gamers, my focus has really been on engineering and building that next generation hardware experience that really, really taps in to their needs.
Okay, so they're saying they don't give a fuck about Xbox, and they think that I think what she's saying, this is what I think she's saying they don't give a fuck about Xbox, and they know that it's only a matter of time until this is irrelevant. To be honest with you, I think she's right. I think they're right. There are so many things that are converging at the same time, where mobile games are cannibalizing the audience of console players. Cloud gaming is getting better, and the price of a console is still getting closer to the price of an entry-level gaming PC that in some cases can do, if not the same, if not more than what the console is. Obviously, gaming PCs are still much more expensive at this time, but the price is going down. And I think that, I think they're totally right. It's only a matter of time. Yeah, it's only a matter of time. And you're seeing this too with I know there were some leaks about the new NVIDIA cards and everything, but I think that what we're going to see more of, especially in the next 5 years and even more so in the next 10 years, is dramatic price reductions in different tools and different resources that computers need. Price reductions in because generally with a PC, most of your money goes into your graphics card and your processor. Everything else is pretty cheap comparatively, right? And so as soon as they nail that down and they can make much cheaper products, then you're going to see gaming PCs directly cannibalize consoles. And I'm not saying that consoles are dead. I think that there's always going to be a place for consoles. But making that your business model, I think, is living on borrowed time.
I talked about this a little bit publicly a few months ago. I talked about how, our focus is on delivering the biggest leap ever. And that's about really thinking through every aspect of what that hardware and what that experience delivers with the core gamer in mind.
I think what she's saying is that the Xbox is not what it should be. And I think that she's right. Like, I think the PlayStation is better than the Xbox in pretty much all ways. And on top of that, the Xbox serves no purpose. Like, for example, a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck, you can play on the go. For a Wii, you could get up and move your arms around. There's no, like, unique value that a Xbox provides.
It is about power and performance. That's absolutely part of it. But it's also about the ability to be able to play all of the games. I mean, we have people who've been playing on Xbox for decades, have invested thousands and thousands of dollars and hours with us, and to be able to take all of those games with them into the hardware of the future.
This sounds a lot like they're going to try to do something with cloud gaming. That's what it sounds like to me. The tablet gaming? Well, that would be the same thing, basically.
One of the decisions I made when I came in and became president of Xbox was to establish a team dedicated to that, to game preservation and ensuring that future generations...
Can Nintendo fucking hire those people? Is somebody send this to Nintendo? Holy shit.
Future iterations, that you get to take those things with you forward.
Yeah.
You know, the next part of that is saying, okay, I get to bring those games with me. I'm invested in those games. I get an incredible high performance experience on my console, but also continuing our commitment to make sure that gamers can bring their games with them wherever they want to play. That my Xbox library is something that can go with me and that I can enjoy with others. So our long-term commitment to cross-play is part of that, and our commitment to cross-progression and cloud saves, so you can pick up on one device and you can play on another.
What a great idea. Has anybody ever tried that before? Brilliant.
Another is part of that.
Yeah.
And also our investments in cloud gaming, which you referenced earlier. A lot of those who use cloud gaming are people who own a console. They're just, you know, they want to play it on another device and go somewhere else. So that's the second piece. And then the last piece is about Game Pass. We know our core users love Game Pass. Game Pass is a gaming subscription. You get a whole portfolio of games, but importantly, you get every single one of our games that we build day one in Game Pass. And the quality and the breadth of those games has only been going up over time, and you're going to see some...
I don't think that's true. I think we all know that's not true. She knows that's not true. Not really, though, right? So, like, hopefully next year it'll be better. Yeah, hopefully next year it'll be better. Because, like Halo Infinite was fucked. Redfall, like, I guess the only one that was good was Hi-Fi Rush, that came out that was like an Xbox, like, only game. At least as far as I know. Like, let me think. Starfield was bad. I mean, Forza, yeah. Like, I don't know who plays Forza, right? I'm not sure. If I hired a company for it, yeah. It's just, I think that this should be true. Like, what she's saying should be true, but it's not yet. And I think this year is probably one of the worst years. Like, 2023 was probably the worst year for Xbox's reputation ever.
More really big games going into Game Pass later this year.
From Activision's portfolio?
Across the whole slate.
Not even
Across
close.
the whole slate. You're
Oh, they had a pretty
really
bad one in like
things.
2014.
And keeping that
Besides
as something
that, yeah.
that is really special for Xbox players is central for us.
A lot of the focus at this conference today has been AI. But AI for gamers is a little different than we talk about AI for the enterprise or for healthcare. Where do you think AI will be important, both to players and to game developers? And how is Microsoft investing against that?
Yeah. I didn't hear all the talks today, but I think we can all confidently say that we are right at the beginning of what AI means for us as a society.
Yeah, obviously.
And for businesses in general. And that's absolutely true in gaming as well.
Yeah, these fucking clowns on Twitter who think that if they get a viral tweet that gets 10,000 likes, the Xbox is going to cancel AI. Like, I'm sorry, but these people are in for a very, very bad awakening. Like, that's not happening. AI is going to be the future, and it's going to replace the majority of jobs that exist. And in a lot of cases, it will not replace your job, but it will make somebody else be able to do your job twice as fast, which means that the guy next to you gets replaced, and you're doing both your job and his job. That's where I think it's really going to come in.
For us, we take our responsibility around AI as Microsoft very seriously and being really, really thoughtful about what we do. And as Xbox, there's something really unique about being a gaming company that is part of a major AI company. And so all of our focus within our team is about how we ensure that gaming AI is really crafted in a way that delivers unique and delightful experiences to players, and adds real value for developers.
I'm going to be honest, if they had just made Starfield with AI, it probably would have been better than if they had released it. Like, they should have just had that whole thing done by AI. It would have been funnier. She's saying nothing. Well, what she's saying is, like, so she can't really answer this question entirely because of the culture around AI. There's, like, still a really big culture, especially inside of, like, the games industry, that's, like, super anti-AI because they view it as cannibalistic towards their careers, which they're right about. So, like, she can't come out and say, we're going to be using AI for everything because it's going to massively help us do everything. But that's clearly what they're going to do. Everybody's going to do this. Microsoft isn't special. Every company is going to do this.
So there's three things we look at as part of that. The first is around developer velocity. How do we give developers tools to make it easier for them to realize their creations, to speed up iteration cycles, and also, frankly, to make it easier for people who may not have as much in-depth training on game development to build a game? We know that with that, there's just going to be a huge proliferation of gaming content and options out there.
Well, this is already happening, right? And it started happening, I would say, like 3 years ago, because that's whenever a lot of the indie games now started getting made, maybe 2 years ago. Or I'd say 2 to 4 years ago, somewhere around there. Who cares? But like, she's absolutely right. Think about how much easier Unreal 5 made it to make games. Like, you see new shitty games come out all the time, but they look amazing because they're made in Unreal 5. Yeah, this is going, and it's only going to become more and more true.
So that leads us very naturally to the next layer where we're investing a lot, which is around discovery, and making sure that people can really be matched with the game experience that we know that they'll love, and that a whole range of creations can be discovered from the biggest games, but also from something novel and new that you may not have intuitively known to look for, but you're going to love if you experience it. And then the last piece is around the actual experience in the game.
Yeah, their marketing probably could be better. She's right about that.
Engagement, delight, playing through and having a fun time, not getting stuck, all the things that come with that, so that you can get really the most out of the game experience. So we are early in this. As I said, you'll see us share things, and things will come out during the course of the year, but our focus just really continues to be on keeping player at the center, keeping the developer at the center, and how AI turns up in gaming.
Xbox President Sarah Bond, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like this went about as good as it could have gone for her. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't think there's anything that she could have said. There's nothing that she could have done that would have made the questions about, for example, the Hi-Fi Rush studio and everything.
One of the things
there's nothing that she could have done that would have improved it. She just didn't have, like, there's no way. Yeah, it was very corpo speak. Well, yeah, of course. Like, absolutely. No shit. Like, she's speaking for the corporation. Like, and also, I feel like Microsoft is under, like, a really big microscope right now. Because, obviously, like, the FTC lawsuit that they just went over, you've got everybody hating on them right now because of the studios they closed. They had one of the most embarrassing years of first-party launch games that I think any studio has ever had, ever. Let me think. What else besides that? Oh, AI. They've invested billions of dollars. Didn't they buy OpenAI? And like everybody hates AI, but everybody also knows it's the future. So you've got to like tread this imaginary line. Like it's yeah. Xbox is constantly failing. Yeah, exactly. It's getting 8% of his money and growing, which is amazing. My brother is invested in Microsoft. Microsoft is getting 1.5%. Yeah, OpenAI is huge, right? So I think that they don't want to say certain things. This is the video. I feel like in general, this was a pretty good interview. Now that I've seen the interview myself, I'm actually kind of confused why Twitter was so angry about this. Because I feel like, what do you guys think? I feel like she gave the most comprehensive answer that she could have for why they got rid of those companies. I really do. She said basically the metrics you see aren't the metrics we see, which is like, really, what else could they say? Yeah, Twitter's not good at understanding corpo speak. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, journalist was good. Yeah, she was. I thought this went really well. Twitter cries and people don't sugarcoat everything. It was a great video. Yeah, I think so too. Because she didn't apologize. Well, of course they're not going to apologize. Like, of course, that would be the worst thing that they could possibly do. When people lose their jobs to AI and can't afford their food and rent, who will these companies look to for growth whenever no one can pay? The companies will start asking, I think the companies will start lobbying for universal basic income to keep the cycle going. I think that's what will probably happen. That's the only way that I think it could happen. But I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I don't know. That's the only way that it could make sense to me, but there might be a couple of key things that, like, I'm not thinking of. To be honest with you, I'd have to really think that out.